Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to the founder, singer, and guitarist of the band Health, Jake Duzsik. Let's go.
I'm not smoking on gas, I'm smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times, I don't want to have bad.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Trying to get ready for tour. We have a tour that starts in about, I think, 11 or 12 days.
When's it start? What date?
First show is March 2nd. We're doing like a warm-up in Ventura.
Oh, okay.
I've never played
Ventura
there before.
Theater, maybe?
I think it's like Ventura Music Hall.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of like a way for us to do like a full...
Like a full run through.
Yeah,
That's
like
cool.
lighting package. We have rehearsals before, but then it's still nice to actually do a venue show.
Yeah.
And feel like because we're playing a lot of new songs.
I actually like doing that better than rehearsing.
Yeah.
Like a warm-up show, because I don't know, sometimes rehearsal feels like, I never really liked rehearsing, but then as I got older, I kind of liked rehearsing because I don't know, that I got like we played 2 shows last year and we spent probably like 9 days rehearsing. We hadn't played for 5 years, but I also like cared weirdly more than I've ever cared about like little things like how we sounded. I used to not care as much how we sounded. I don't know. It was just loud was good.
Yeah.
Now I'm more like, we need another guitar. So we brought in another guitar player. Our friend came, and now I'm like, I don't think we could play a show without him because I like the way the extra guitar sounded. So I think the older I get, the more detail oriented I get.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of struggling a little bit with this preparation on this cycle because it's like the biggest tour we've ever done, more production. There's a lot, like we're spending a lot more money, which is worth it. The shows are bigger. We want to make them memorable. And you kind of, obviously it happens to different bands at different stages.
Yep.
That sort of realization that you start playing shows and you think like, man, if we could play to 500 people or 250 people, like we'd be set, because you have, you're just driving in some piece of shit van and don't even have a sound guy. And the next thing you know, you're like, it just all sort of proportionally expands to whatever space that you're playing. And I think that's part of I similarly don't like rehearsing. I think at this stage in my life, it's like maybe for different reasons than I had before. But I guess I feel like it's
what?
I guess I feel like it's not that it's not creative, because especially for the way that we do music, there's a lot of problem solving, because it's not like we're a band that's just in a room and then writing out our songs. Like It's very modern. It's a hybridization of electronic music. I remember many, many years ago, like we were doing some shows with 9 Inch Nails and I was talking to Trent Reznor and he was explaining the sort of issue that he had every time they would go on a touring cycle with new music was he's just using the studio to create these songs.
Right. There's no rules. You're just painting with any color you want, not thinking of live. You're just making the music. So you could put 40 tracks on something.
And
if you need it to sound a certain way.
And then it can be so processed and highly produced. And the only thought is what the recorded output is. And you're not, it's not like
replicating that live is the problem solving.
Yeah, exactly. So, and at that time, that was a pretty foreign concept for me because we were still at a stage where the band was very visceral. Like we might do certain things on a record that wouldn't be exactly how we would do it in a live setting, but there was still a lot more like direct sort of composition that would be the same as it was played live. Now, I'm in exactly the same place as he was talking about, where we have a record and then you look at it and you're like, okay, how the fuck do we
do this live?
Like, and there literally are songs where you spend time in it, and maybe you play the song and you're like, this song just doesn't work live, And so that's kind of, I guess, grating and boring to me. I'm just at a stage creatively where what I really like, it sounds cliche, but as I get older, I realize that cliches exist because like they're mostly fucking true.
They are. All the things they say,
Yeah.
you realize as you get older, like whoever they are, everything they said was
it's just
true.
Like, it's just like data sifted, right? It's like, just that's how it's been field tested immensely.
Yeah.
But one of the cliches that I've experienced as a musician is I just like the creative act, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I like writing songs and like writing
Me
a new
too.
record. And so when it gets down to, okay, like we need to get your ears recasted for new in-ear molds
Yeah,
or
yeah,
and
I'm
yet,
the-
and there's some people in bands, I feel like a lot of times, like I don't mean to be stereotyping, but it's like a lot of times like drummers, like they really like rehearsing because I think it's physical.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
like
physical.
and a lot like they get to be physical, which is part of like the appeal of music for a lot of people. And for me, I'm just kind of, I will put in all the work and I will be diligent about it. And that might also be kind of hearkening back to what you were saying, is because I care more and more, I know that I'm going to take it more seriously. So once it starts, it's like, once the ball starts rolling down the hill, I'm going to get kind of wrapped up in it and I'm going to stress out about it. And then I'm going to realize, oh, this song is going to take like 2 weeks of running it for me to. There's a couple of songs on this, and especially how I write some things now. I play guitar and I sing, and I'm writing those two things completely independently of each other.
Yeah.
So I'll go to play something, and then I'll realize, like, fuck, what my hands are doing versus the phrasing are completely separate. And I know from being a kid, you know, when you'd write music, you would sometimes, if you're writing them together, you kind of write around the feel
Yeah.
of playing the two at the same time. So it's just like all these things I got to decipher and figure out. And it's just kind of time consuming and very, it's just like the work part of it. It's still a great job. It's just not my favorite.
I feel from my experience, when I was younger, I didn't take myself or what I was doing as seriously as I do now, because it all felt like it was a magical thing that happened to me.
Yeah, that's the magic of being young and being in a band.
Right? Like I didn't give myself credit for all those nights in the van or all those shitty gigs and all the showing up that you have to do to get in the position, to get the opportunity to play on the bigger stage, then the bigger stage, and the bigger stage, right? Where you're at today and where you were at and where I was at when we were 18, totally different places in our life, right?
Yeah.
It's a never-ending amount of work to exist as a professional in a field that's not a very professional field. It's art. It can be subjective to everyone, right? So as I got older and I started to be more focused on the things I was doing from a perspective of like, no, I want to do this right as I can. It got a little harder because I was a little bit more detail oriented. I was a little bit more critical.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually resonate very much with what you're saying. I definitely think that for me, I have come to take all of those things a lot more seriously. And part of that is because, you know, you have experience and perspective on seeing bands in different stages of their career. And you can really tell, like, there's a kinetic, joyful nature to watching a young band. Even if they're sloppy on stage, like you can sense joie de vivre, like they're just like, they love being there. And
It's like naive in the best way.
yeah, and you can communicate a really memorable experience for an audience and for yourself on stage being at that place in your life. And then you have the experience of seeing other bands as you get older where you see a great show and you realize how much fucking work goes into that show, like how much thought in terms of presenting the music to create an experience for everybody that is memorable and stands out from others. And then you can see where people phone it in. And it's just like, oh, they have this backdrop that looks exactly like what you would think it would look like, and then everything is going to do, or it just sounds shitty. People that, you know, like they don't want to be there, and you can tell. And it's sort of, we're still a small band, you know? So that's the other thing, is it's kind of like a new foray into, you know, we're in bigger rooms because we're not a band that like got big when we were younger. We're still a fringe band that I even still get to do this. I'm incredibly thankful for, and to be growing and finding like newer people in an audience. And I think that that's maybe, as you were sort of alluding to, kind of daunting because it is a responsibility and a pressure. And the part that is more fun for me at this stage is writing new songs. This is not to say that I don't like playing the shows. I like playing the shows.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do too.
And I like being on stage. But you know what touring is like. It's like a lot of fucking hurry up and wait.
Yeah, it's like 23 hours or 22 hours of stuff of waiting and doing other stuff for an hour and a half of really great. It's why you're there.
And now I'm a dad now, so it's just
really
like,
adds a layer of complexity.
So it's different from my bandmates where it's like, okay, we're gonna go on tour. That means just something completely different for me in terms of
what you're missing.
Wanting to be around, what the additional responsibility that my partner takes on in doing that, and then also the lead up to that, like the
Preparing.
Trying to be more present at home in
while
lieu
you're
of being
getting
gone.
ready. You're also you're balancing. Everybody knows the day you're leaving is coming. Those 2 weeks can be very stressful. 3 weeks leading up, there's a lot of anxiety that is like present that you're probably not even fully aware of, because no one that's truly connected in their family wants to leave them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you tell me I'm leaving for. I'm married with 2 kids and I want to be.
Yeah. I mean, I have a 4-year-old son and he is a fucking hassler. He's a super intense, but I love him. 5 days, like a fly-in with a couple of shows, cool.
Great. Yeah.
But anything beyond 2 weeks, like the FaceTime starts to bum you out, and that, just like this part of growing up.
It's really hard. Yeah, I had the same thing from when my kids were 0 to 5. I missed a lot. We were still touring, and we stopped actually after that because one of the biggest reasons was I couldn't do it anymore. After they were like 5, 6, I just found it like was really hard. And listen, I hear what you're saying about your band. I think you guys are a really important band, and size is an interesting thing because it's hard to measure the size of importance.
I kind of just meant more in a logistical sense.
Right, and the logistics of the venues. And
yeah, I mean, if we were a little bit bigger, I could like TO a lot of stuff to production people where, you know, like I know bands that are really big where it's just like, they don't put a pedal board in a case ever.
Right.
I have crew, but I have to be.
Yeah.
So it adds an additional layer of responsibility of, I'm very detail oriented. So I'm going to notice if I don't think that the lighting is right. Whereas some people don't really care, but I also don't have the resources to just be like,
outsource that.
Yeah, just fire that guy and get another one. I don't like that. Get more stuff. It's just kind of like, okay, well, what does this do to we need to live off of this, So that's the only thing I meant. Like
the logistics of what it takes to do what you guys are doing. Listen, I think that fans, music fans, and your fans have an implicit understanding and feeling of what it takes. Somehow I think they do, but I don't think that they understand what goes into making all of this come together so that you can be on that stage.
Dude, the funniest thing to me is like my dad is like total rock dad. He grew up taking me to, like, I went to see Nirvana when I was like 10 and shit. My family's very supportive of the band, and like my dad has been to like see us play in garages.
That's cool.
And to this day, and this is something that I've tried to explain to people because this is how the general audience going public is, and you all understand this just implicitly, is like, I can't remember, it was a couple of years ago, we played a show in Portland and then a show in Seattle. And my dad went to both shows. I'm from the Northwest.
Are you like up there?
Yeah, I'm from Seattle.
Cool.
And that's why I got the fuck out of there. I don't like the rain.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, same set. Everything's pretty much the same. We played in Portland and then the next night in Seattle. And my dad, and to this day, he is like so many people in the audience where he's like, and there's a lot of electronic elements, there's synthesizers, there's things that like, they sound good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can see maybe I'm a vocalist. You could have an off night as a singer, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not what it was. It's just one room was like this metallic ceilinged space that just had terrible fucking acoustics. And we all know from touring, you're like, beautiful room, 100-year-old theater. It's not made for loud music. It's going to sound like shit. I'd rather play the concrete box, whatever kind of thing, because it's physics.
Yep.
And it's just like, not understanding that as a concert goer. And that's what's so pure about it, is a lot of people are just there ingesting the experience. But my dad is just like, you guys sounded terrible tonight, but you were good last night. And I'm trying to explain that room everybody is going to sound bad in that room. And he just like can't buy it. In his mind, it's just, and it's this thing that I think other bands, you know, like when a band gets to a point where they realize, and I've had this conversation with bands that are buzz bands or bonus, like, hey, the first thing you need to add is a front of house person.
Yeah.
Before you spend money on anything else, because the people at those shows will just think you sucked that night. They're not in there.
A good mix is so important.
And they're just not in there thinking like, yeah, look at this ceiling. It's rounded. This is a theater, like for, you know, plays. And now they use it for, and this heavy ass band is playing. It's like, doesn't work in here. They just think, oh, that band's bad.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a thing that comes into, you know, it's almost like that you want to have this incredible lighting show and have it sound impeccable, but you want it to all feel like this organic experience that just unfolds, you know? Because you want some level of mystery. It's like pop music, I understand. It's like you have all these costume changes and the pageantry of it is very on display, but part of the magic, I think, of like a heavy music experience is that it sort of just should feel like it unfolds in this natural way.
Yeah, and the musicians are all playing together and conducting this show together. That is really hard to do when it comes down to it. A good band is hard to find live. It's actually a hard thing to execute and sound good live, and that's why rock is. I want to say it's the biggest live genre, but it's likely rock and or country. So live music in general, live players is still the biggest in live music. I think for a reason. There's something magical about seeing guys get up together on stage and put this music together and play it. That's still, people are in awe of it because it's hard to do. It is really hard to do at a high level.
Yeah, and I think that I guess is just where that's what we're kind of doing right now, and that I feel that especially with playing new songs.
You're putting your energy into this show, and you want them to get something out of it, and you want them to leave with an impression. You want them to leave. You want to feel like everybody was there, everybody was invested, everybody left. Like there's something about me that when I'm away, I want to feel like the people that whether it's a show or whatever, I want to feel like I did my very best that night and that they left with the very best experience, because otherwise I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So I'm not phoning it in. And I know what you're saying when you see a band phone it in, and then when you see a band that does what they do really well, and you can tell the difference. And when I go see shows, I see it. I see bands that are like, they're on their shit. And then you see other ones, you go to other shows and it feels like, it feels draggy and tired.
And the subtleties of that can be it can really be reflective of where the band is at that place in their life. Because you could do a rough and tumble, like not polished show, and it can feel really visceral and awesome.
Totally.
But it's when you can tell that someone doesn't want to be there,
Yeah,
or doesn't really care. They're
it's
just
an
like
intangible thing.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I'll just play this show, and I don't really want to.
It's a super gratifying experience when you make music and people feel it. And certainly I'm sure you've had the experience where people have said, your music helped me through this, or it helped me with that, and it helped me in this time of my life. That's probably the highest return, is the emotional effect you can have on people and they can have on you around your art.
I don't mean to be, obviously I'm biased, but in terms of, I know a lot of different people who work in the arts, like specifically film and TV editors, directors, things like that. Like I went to college down here, and like a lot of my friends like are in that kind of world.
Right.
And there was a time in my life where that actually really interested me when I was young. And I have friends who are writers. I really think that music is by far the best art form in terms of what you get back from it.
Yeah.
Because it's collaborative.
Yep.
So you have the experience of being able to like be with other people, like your bandmates. you get to create the music and have that effect on people. And it feels such a privilege to have someone say like, hey, I was really depressed. And it took me a while when we started, we were such an underground band. We were just playing like warehouse shows and things like that. It wasn't that kind of relationship. And now it took me a little time to get used to fans saying things like that, like saying like, hey, I wanted to kill myself last winter and I didn't because of this record.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think is so amazing about the way that music, we've all had that experience of listening to a record for 6 months straight or the same song like 20 times in a day.
Yep.
And that's so unique to the way that we ingest music. It's so different from seeing a good film or seeing a great photograph. That sort of repetitive, emotional way that you can incorporate into your life. And then as the artist, we get to go on tour and play that music and have this reciprocity, this energy exchange that happens between you and the audience. Whereas like friends that I have that work on set or work in production, it's like, oh, I finished editing this TV show and it's like, now it's just out and I got to go on to do something else. Or they are shooting and they're a cameraman, which is incredibly grueling and it's like 15 hours. The reason I feel comfortable saying that is that's also how I feel as someone who ingests art. You know, like I love to read a good book, I love to see a good film, but I've never had the kind of emotional connection to anything else that I've had with good music. The way it can occupy a place that spans your entire life, like from the time it entered into it, whether or not it's something that you listen to consistently, like for me, like a band like Black Sabbath or like Black Flag that I've listened to the whole time. So it doesn't have, or it's a band that I only listened to in high school and college. And if I listen to that, it's like this crazy nostalgia explosion that's almost unbearable.
Yeah.
That sort of repetitive thing, like being able to go out and share that with an audience, I think
There's nothing like it.
It is. It's really the best thing.
And what would the film be without great music?
Yeah, it's true.
It's just a special thing. I had the same experience the other day, Sunday. I was I don't know what it was, but I had a Pandora channel playing in my office, and I was doing some work, and this song came on, and it was a song from my childhood that I didn't even remember. And then I heard it, and it took me right back. And I had to get in the car and go pick my daughter up. And so I got on, and I got in the car, and I put the song on, and I listened to it probably like 10 times on the way to get my daughter. And I was just in a full-blown nostalgic. I sent the song to my older brother because it was that song, Tears for Fears, Break It Down Again.
Oh, I love that song.
And I remember when my older brother played it for me, I think I was thinking 9th grade or something. It was a really hard time in life. Things were just really a mess. My family had fallen apart. Everything was going wrong. And he was always the source of music for me. He would play bands for me, and he would put me on like everything. And I remember at this certain time in my life, he was playing that he really liked that song. And it was when you could do like cassette singles. So it was just like a single.
Yeah.
So he had it, and he would play it. And it took me right back to that time. And I sent him that, and I said, I texted him, and I was like, thank God for music.
And, you know, like I'm a card-carrying member of this union in terms of extolling the virtues of music, but it also ages.
Good music ages well.
Yeah, because like, you know, film and TV, comedy, I feel like ages the harshest of any art form, where it's just like once you're a decade plus on, it feels so of its time, which is one of the beautiful things about it, but it's really hard to sort of recapture that moment.
Yeah.
It's so temporal. And music, great music, it really, I mean, obviously, like I'm under no illusions that like everything falls, like there was a time when the dominant form of popular music all had horns in it. You know, it's like, it's like that has moved on. And I know that will happen to all the music that we're doing.
Yeah, but the best examples of it, they live. And
they do.
I don't know. It just struck me.
It's melody based too.
It's melody. It just struck me, and I texted him, and I was like, I sent him the song, and I was like, remember this? And he was like, I just listened to this, you know, like yesterday or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it takes me back. And I said, thank God for music. And what I was saying was, I remember where it took me was a moment of joy surrounded by pain.
And that's the other thing that's really interesting about music too, is there are some types of music where you have to have the time and space to handle that nostalgia bomb, or you have to turn it off.
100%.
You know, and there are films or shows that I watched when I was a kid that I could feel nostalgic about, but it's only music where I could hear some song and it's like,
Not right now.
oh, I remember the summer of 2008 and I was like living with this girl and my life was upside down, but it was great or whatever. And I'm like, I can't listen to that right now.
Yeah.
Or something that takes you back to your childhood. Like,
that was just
like for me, Talking Heads, This Must Be the Place.
Yep.
That song. I used to go into work with my dad every day during the summer because he worked in downtown Seattle and it was right next to a skate park, and I would skateboard all day, and he had the Speaking in Tongues Talking Heads record on cassette, and I loved that song, so I would listen to it every day. And it's like, I cannot listen to that song without becoming emotional. There's just no way for me to do it. It doesn't matter what, if I was waiting to get onto an airplane, I'd be like, oh shit, okay. You know, and only music sort of occupies that space in my life.
Would you say it makes you emotional because it was a happy time?
Definitely. I mean, it was like when I was like 13, 14 years old.
That's cool.
And the song itself is very evocative emotionally. But it's tied to the character of how exactly what you were saying about the Tears for Fears, how it made you feel when you heard it.
Yeah.
So like I was
happy.
bringing up Black Sabbath before, it's like the riff from Black Sabbath's Supernaut, for example. I remember the first time I ever heard that, which was in a skate video, I was just fucking pumped. It made me want to like break a window.
Yeah.
And it almost always makes me feel like that when I hear it now. Or just like all the stuff that I don't do anymore. It's like I hear that song, it's like, dude, I just kind of want to drink 100 beers, you know?
Yeah.
Like just it still accesses those same kind of emotions.
Yeah, it's so
It's
crazy.
interesting how visceral. I'm sure it's all neurological. It is. It's like those pathways, the way that music works with our synapses and, you know, all those incredibly complex systems. But to me, it's incomparable to any other art form.
It's so hard to quantify the value of it. The transaction's really emotional. It's like people are listening to your songs for different reasons, and they're all important reasons.
I mean, that's the coolest thing too, right? Is that, you know, I don't know. There's certain interviews where people, especially Europeans, they really like, they love to like have the lyrical content like really explicated for them, and it's just like,
I don't know.
But it's just like, well, the cool thing is that once it's out in the world, everybody is going to infuse it with their own meaning. So it's kind of beside the point to have someone explicitly tell you what a song is supposed to be.
When I wrote songs, it was all stream of consciousness. I didn't sit down and write like, this is what this song's about. But they were pretty explicit, the songs.
Yeah,
But they weren't actually to me, because I would literally get in and freestyle.
Yeah, it's like catharsis.
Yeah, and some of the songs are pretty simple, but I still don't know what I was thinking when I wrote them.
Yeah,
And it's just the way it is. Like I could say I had some plan to make some song that was successful, but I didn't. I like just was very stream of consciousness, get in, sing what felt good, words come out, start putting them together, and then a song was written.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it works differently for other people, but I find it's very difficult to have a plan to write a successful song.
Yeah, it's more for me, it was always feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that feels good.
The one thing that I guess I've learned for myself, at least in terms of writing music, just like anything else, is there's something to be said for volume, just in terms of putting in work.
Right.
You know, like you can't write a good song if you're not writing songs. And that's something that I've found. It's like if my kid goes to bed, even if I just like fuck around for an hour,
You'll write something.
it's just a way to keep connected to. It's like any other routines that we have in life. You know, when you let something lie fallow, you're just not very. If there's a sport you played or something, if you're not exercising the musculoskeletal system and your muscle memory and all that kind of stuff, you're like, oh, I'm not going to do anything.
You're not going to be as good.
Yeah, you're just not going to be as good at it. So I just find that's one of the reasons where I don't love going on tour anymore, also because I never thought about it when I was younger, but realizing how the sort of arbitrary nature of record cycles is very creatively disruptive. I mean, it depends on the band you are. Like, Zeppelin wrote most of Zeppelin 2 just on the road.
Right.
Because just Pagey's just riffing. And then, they're putting out 2 albums a year. It's a very different kind of thing. But for me, and I think for a lot of modern people, it's like, dude, it's hard to do anything on tour.
Yeah.
Other than just play a show.
Yeah.
So you spend all this time writing a record, and then typically, if it's a good creative experience, the sort of zenith that you reach of really being in the moment and in the routine of writing and being artistic is the moment when it's like, okay, now you need to go on tour for like a year. So just stop doing all that. It's like, it would be good to keep doing that. in that time. And I'm that's one thing that I've kind of, because you can make a plan, you could be like, okay, we're only going to do, I'm trying really hard to like, I'm not doing anything more than 4 weeks at a time because of family stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have 2 months at home in between something or a month, you can make a plan to write in between there, but then you get back and then it's like,
takes 3 weeks to get settled. And
then you're like, then you get sick when you get home, or your kid gets sick. It just takes you out of it, and I think that's something that it's way better than me just being over all of it.
Yeah,
I'm still into all, like I still care so much about each part that it's like you don't want to shortchange anything. It's exactly what we were talking about with the pre-production and getting ready for tour and wanting to perform well while you're on tour. I've just found it's hard to do anything really well and do anything else.
Yep.
That's been like the thing that and I don't mean just in music, I mean almost in anything.
All of it. I agree with you. I think that if I'm doing really, really well at work, I'm likely dropping the ball at home. If I'm doing really well at home, I'm likely dropping the ball at work. Finding the balance of it is the thing that I think we start to learn with our age, is like, okay, if I can deliver at work and I know exactly what I should take on and what I shouldn't, is exactly what you're talking about. It's like learning how to measure things and go, but I think that's what makes you a success. I think that the fact that you care about your family and you want to be a good participant in that, right? Because we don't have to be. Plenty of people haven't participated in their family.
Oh, especially in the arts, you hear about it all the time.
All the time.
It's like so-and-so was never home.
Yeah, dad wasn't around, he was this. And we're like, okay, there's some version of reality as we have to work in our kids. I think they need to see us going after things in the world and trying to accomplish things. I think that's good. I think the most important thing we can do is try to evolve and expand our ability to do these things well and find the balance of what that means as we grow. So can I be as engaged as possible as a...
And also the fucked up thing is like culturally our sort of obsession with individuality, because you hear all these stories about like a great musician or a great writer or a film director, and it's like they were never around. We conflate the two things as being like, oh, that's what you need to do that. It's kind of like how like all those people read that Steve Jobs book and they're like, I need to be a fucking dick to get shit done. It's like, no, I don't think you have to do that part, And he might actually have,
I didn't read the book, but if that's the through line is that, it might actually be like a good cautionary tale of who's sacrificing. If I'm choosing this over everything else is sacrificing, so I can choose it. So if I chose to have a family, they're sacrificing. So the balance is can I push and optimize my productivity and my ability to do this a little more each year to where I get to a spot where I can really execute at the level I want to. And then do I know what that means as far as what I choose to do? And can I still deliver the best experience for my family as me?
Dude, I read this thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. And
what did you read?
It really struck me as I was reading this, like a long form profile of Sofia Coppola.
Okay.
And
She's cool.
she was just talking about growing up, and obviously her dad would take on these like mammoth film productions, and this impacted her life negatively in that she was never in the same place. But he had a thing where he was just like, he didn't ever want the family not to be together for more than 10 days. So it was like, he wouldn't do that thing where he would go, I'm going to go film Godfather 2. I'm going to be gone for fucking 8 months.
I'll be back.
I'll be home, but it's my art that matters. He was like, no, fuck that. The family's together. So anywhere I go, family is going, and we're all going to be together, and we're going to have dinner at night. And I just thought that was so rad. Like hearing that. I think when you're younger, you know, it's like, I'm going to be just like, have one shark-like focus, like just keep moving. I do one thing, and I guess it was just sort of
Well,
kinda,
we know too much now. We know the kids whose parents did that, lots of them have problems.
Yeah, exactly. And also just for you want to be around your kid. I guess that's just like, I had a discussion just even with my band and our management, like before we've been around for a while, and like we're a very strange band. I know that there's not like, it's niche.
You're unique. You guys sit in a space that I say you hold a space that's very unique to your band. So I think it's likely feels lonely at times, but I think that you guys are just unique. You're it's not a band that is like a bunch of other bands. So I think that can probably feel niche, or it can feel long term. I think there's a lot of, I think I'd rather be that.
Well, what I was laying out ultimately though, and for us, like we are kind of doing in certain ways better than we've ever done.
I would say that.
And so, but I kind of had to, especially for my bandmates, be like, hey, like if you sort of look at like the phenomenon that happened to Turnstile, where it's like, we're going to be on tour for 2 years straight. I kind of had to say, like, even if the record fucking exploded, it's like, I cannot do that. I'm not at a point where I'm willing to be like, if there's just opportunity after opportunity,
We're gonna have to weigh them out.
I have to weigh, like, there's the financial side of the incentivization that I need to be able to play for my family.
Very real.
But I also can't be like, oh, I just missed like 2 years and then destroyed my relationship. You know, like finding that balance.
That to me is, I think, the key to happiness and to long-term sustainable success.
It's a tricky thing, man. I never had, like, this is the first record I've ever had where I'm like a dad.
Yeah.
It's just really,
It's
different.
different, but it's a real thing because I think it's integrity too. I think it's really, really, really cool. I feel the same way. I want to be there for everything. I only get to raise these kids once.
And it's the biggest thing I've had in my life where I feel full on like a different person.
Yeah.
Like completely different person.
Yeah.
So it's like a complicated thing to.
It is complicated. It's funny. I know with health, you guys have collaborated with a bunch of people. Did you collaborate with Bad Omens?
We have collaborated with Bad Omens because we're all in the same city. I think that was the most time we've got to spend with another band.
Okay.
Because like they're in the Valley, we're in like Echo Park, like East Side area. So, and they work from home.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's so cool about this sort of new wave of heavy music is that all those kids are very much of the same school as us in terms of being like very, very production literate.
Yeah, very hands-on. They can make stuff.
Yeah.
They don't need to call a producer to come in and...
No, like talking, we went to their apartment, which is like, they have a production writing studio in there.
Yeah.
We actually did a day in a neutral ground studio that was rented, which they later explained, and it was very, very pragmatic. It's like, there's some guy like running Ableton, or I think they work in Logic, we work in Ableton. There's some guy like running Pro Tools that neither of us know, and both bands are like pretty fast on
their
like
own.
an audio workstation.
Right.
So we kind of realized that there was this thing slowing us down, but you don't want to have people over to your house for the first time you meet them, and like,
And who knows?
It's just kind of weird, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't like get along, and there's no creative spark. So we did that, and then it was cool. So then the next day it was like, fuck that studio. Like, why don't you guys just come to our house?
Yeah.
So we got to do like 4 days.
That's
so,
cool.
So we did a 4 or 5 days, I think. So we started like a couple other ideas. It was just really fast and easy to work together. I think having that kind of being able to move fast, not being like, oh, well, let's try to explain to this engineer what we want.
Yeah. You have to cut it out.
They seem to write the same way that we write, which is,
I'll say as a music fan, I really love hearing that, because that's what you hope to imagine when two bands get together, is that they are competent and they can like make music on their own, and then together they can make music. I always respect bands that are self-produced, guys who can make stuff.
Well, they're very, very, very production literate.
Yeah.
Especially like for a band.
It's crazy how good they are at being them.
And I think that like that younger sensibility of being, especially younger kids, it's like computer is like a fucking appendage to them, Like they just preternaturally understand it.
Yeah.
I think that like we just did some dates with like Sleep Token, and it's a similar kind of thing where it's just like the music is like this amalgamation of electronic, heavy, people play, like Noah can sing his ass off. That was the only part for me that was like a little, because he's in a heavy band, but he has like,
He can sing.
he has pop control of his, like virtuosic control of his voice.
It's crazy.
Whereas, he and I are talking, and it's like, I guess he's been listening to us since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Which is sort of surprising to me. That's always surprising to me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, he's explaining to me that he likes my voice, but I'm listening to him sing, and I'm like, man, I really suck at singing compared to this kid. In terms of just, there's like a vocal control, we're like, I'm going to start like belting it out and then transition to falsetto and then do a vibrato thing. I'm like, nah, I can't do any of that shit. But it was just really fun. And I think that's like the best case scenario where you can all hang out and like talk about what you want to order for lunch. And if people want to have some beers, they can, or whatever kind of thing. Because then you feel like a band.
Yeah, as a fan of the overall genre, if you just say rock music, so I would put you guys, Bad Omens, all these bands under the one big umbrella of like rock.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And we could say the different styles, but that is the kind of stuff I get the most excited about, is seeing bands collaborate and coming from like actually a creative place where they're actually fans of each other, respect each other, and then they get together and they make some piece of music that as a rock fan, it's fun to listen to. And I like both your bands. So it's cool to see cool bands collaborate without any, bands can sometimes and look, I think it's hard sometimes. But I think bands can be standoffish from one another.
Oh, totally.
And I get it.
It's like gangs.
Yeah. Like I totally get it. But when I see bands put down their guard and collaborate with each other, it makes me really happy, because that's kind of everyone just being kids again and being creative.
And I think that's the really exciting thing about collaboration becoming so much more accepted in the rock world, because it used to be so much more factional and just insular. Like it's like we were talking about, it's like your family. And so the tendency is to keep that really close to the chest. Whereas in the past, like what collaboration between rock bands really leaps to mind? It's like
There weren't a ton.
there's like fucking like that's really memorable. It's like there's one. It's fucking Under Pressure. It's Queen and David Bowie. That's like the only like big ones.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
And you think about like, it was so good because it was two really good bands collaborating.
And that's a weird one, because it only works because when you listen to it as a writer, especially having done collaborations, you can see that they're just trying to one up each other. It's like there's not a mutual like, okay, that's why that song has like fucking 8 hooks and like 3 different choruses. And it's like, and Bowie can't out sing Freddie, so he has to like do a catchier thing. It's like a pretty crazy one it's definitely like very high octane, like trading punches kind of track. And it's this very unique place that it occupies. But I think for a lot of like bands, it's been, especially coming from like the underground perspective, it's always been such like a sacred kind of thing that you don't ever want to let the reins go of. So the idea of anybody contributing outside of the band is kind of looked down upon. But as you get older, you realize that so much of that great art was just made in committee by someone being like, I don't fucking care who contributes, just so long as it makes the song better.
And I think also something about bands and coming from the, whatever you want to call it, being underground. I feel like this. I feel like sometimes bands get in the mindset that only one band can make it at a time or something.
Oh yeah, it's like zero sum. It's
and when I see bands collaborate, it says a lot about those bands. It says
totally.
There's room. There's room for all of us. We can collaborate. One thing I'll say about Bad Omens, getting to know them over the years, they're fans of other bands. So they're not sitting there going, we're trying to get to the top of the mountain and it's just us. They're literally actually just guys who really like being in a band and they like other bands. So I can see it in their collaborations. I can see it in their touring, but I can see it in you guys. I can see it in a few bands around where I go, that makes me more of a fan actually, because there's something about bands that want to be friends with other bands, that want to collaborate with other bands, that makes me feel more, I don't know, I'm a bigger fan.
It's just healthier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a legacy of feuding and sort of you only can go up by pushing someone else down in the past, where like territoriality of if something good is happening to that band, that means
they're taking something from me.
It's not happening to me.
Right, which
true.
is
thereby a subtraction from me. And it's like, that's just like a really toxic and negative way to think.
And no rock fan listens to only one band.
Yeah. And so anything that gets out of that, I think, is just net positive.
Sharing is good of all kinds.
Sharing. Hey, it's been especially great for us because by and large, not all the time, but like a lot of the bands that we've collaborated with are just much more successful bands than us.
Well, there's also a crossover, because that's the thing is, like, as a rock fan, I always check out records. I want to find a new band that I love. That's the nature of me as a fan, is I want to find a new band that I love. So I'm always listening to new records all the time and becoming a fan. If Architects takes someone on tour, I love Architects. So one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
I listen to the bands they take on tour the same way. Like, I'm always looking for like who's playing with who's,
And that's the other thing that's so great about this new wave of heavy music fans is that, like, from growing up, like you were saying, growing up in the 90s, it's like I grew up skateboarding and then listening to heavy music, and it was just like a pretty aggressive, macho kind of cultural
world.
Yes. And getting away from that, where you have bands that are young and the fans are young, and they're like, oh, Bad Omens is playing a show. Who's this band opening? I'm going to follow them on Instagram. I'll check out their music. I'll cheer for them. Whereas, like, what's the apocryphal story? It's like you go see Slayer and it's like the opening band, people just fucking yell at him the whole time. Because it's not Slayer. It's just not, like, get off, you're not Slayer. Yeah. And it's like, and that's got its own thing too. But it's definitely more fun to be in the, like, not in the, you're an opening band and the crew just veiledly hates you because you're not the headliner.
Yeah.
And, like, nobody is nice to you. That's just, I think that the more we get into the kind of world of collaboration and realizing that,
is a culture.
Like you said, it's not zero sum and just sort of this survival of the fittest thing. It's just overall a lot.
The great thing about your band is every fan that is going to continue to discover you guys, because I think you guys are in an interesting moment. I think the next few years are going to be really fun for you guys, and I think it's interesting time for rock music in general.
It's definitely an interesting time for heavy music.
Yeah, it's really good time for heavy music, and I think you guys have a really great history. You have a rich catalog of music for people to discover, and it stands up, so I think that's exciting. In the world of heavy music and rock music, I'd put you on the short list of bands that, not only bands that matter, but bands that are poised to make really interesting records. And records matter again, like interesting records matter again. I think that when a record's doing well and you listen to it and you go, oh, you know what? They made an interesting record. They made a good record. I think we're back there.
I know that part about it is really cool. On this recent record, we did some loose. It's like the closest thing we've come to doing a concept record.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a concept record, except for there isn't like, it doesn't have the thing that I like least about concept records, which is like a full narrative lyrical through line, like Tommy or Quadrophenia or something. There was like, it has to all be rigorously, like Dark Side of the Moon is a concept record, but it can lyrically kind of be what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And part of the reason we did that is we know it's a song economy and TikTok and all that, but at the same time, fans are interested. So we're like, all right, that track on Spotify is going to cut off, even though if you listen to it on vinyl, it would go seamlessly into the next track. We're like, fuck it, let's just do, like, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And this is what's cool about this moment right now with heavy music is that you don't have to have this bankrupt creative approach to being like, all that matters is singles. So let's just have 10 singles and there'll be like 2 really good ones and the other 8 will be just lesser versions of singles. It's like, fuck that. Do some deep cuts.
Let's make a record.
Have a long song.
Yeah.
That song is 7 minutes. Like, who cares? Like, there's Wild West. There's like no rules right now.
Yeah.
So,
It's. I feel like it's a really good time. We're headed into like a really good time for records and touring. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to watch you guys over the next couple of years.
thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Great talking to you.
You too. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Artist Friendly. If you really liked it, you can follow, like, subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bad times, I don't